What is up, people of the extranet? Tyler here with Random Automotive, here with the expensive dog, and Noah. Say what's up, Noah.
What's up?
He's my little nephew. Today we're going to change the transmission fluid on the 1965 Mustang. This has the 3-speed manual transmission down there. We've got the jack underneath. We're going to do a couple things. It's relatively, can't talk today, easy procedure, and we're going to get started. Bless you. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, we've got our drain pans under there. Noah's just being a spotter for me today. I raised the car up about a half an inch. It's not setting up very high. The wheel's still on the ground, but just enough where you can get under here. Now, clearly you can see this transmission has a bad leak. And I think part of it is actually that drain plug at the bottom was basically hand tight. So that could be part of the problem why it was leaking. But it's wet all the way up there, so the top inspection cover may be leaking. I don't know. But anyway, so we're going to take, I've got an 11/16 open end, and we're going to take this bottom one off. We're going to drain the fluid out, and then there's our top plug, and we're going to use a positive displacement hand pump and pump fluid into it. So let's crack that open and see what the fluid looks like. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove the plug. Now, gear oil's like molasses. It's not going to come shooting out, I don't think, like anything else. Dog's wound up over there. Shouldn't come shooting out like oil, really. It should come out relatively slow. And there she be. Hopefully that doesn't fill up too fast. I think it should be okay. And we're just going to let that drain out for a little while. Fluid doesn't look terrible, but it'll be good to change it. Get it topped off. I do see some, looks like some metallic colors in there, so there might be a little wear and tear. We will see. We'll let this drain for a little bit. Okay, so what I've done, we're about through draining here. I'll let that continue to dribble for just a minute. You see that red tube? It's hooked up and it's running up there. We're going to use a positive displacement hand pump to pump our fluid in, and we're going to watch it. When it gets so full that it's dribbling out of there, we'll put the plug in. But we will go ahead and stick the bottom drain plug back in. Okay, so what we do now is we got the hose in the top part of the transmission, and then we've got the fill plug in so it doesn't leak. We've got our positive displacement hand pump, and it's going into our gear oil now. And we're just going to start to pump, and you're going to get a lot of tension in there. It should be drawing. If it's not, we may have a kink in there. I think we do. Okay, so the fluid was coming out of that top hole of the transmission, as you could see where it drained down. Don't see any leaks from that plug really, other than when we took it off and put it on. So we're gonna put that top plug in, tighten it down. Then we're gonna hit a little degreaser, car parts cleaner, something after we get the plugs in, and just clean up under here and see if we can spot any new leaks. But right now it's topped off. Alrighty, so as you can tell by the bottom of the transmission, a lot cleaner. I'm gonna spray up in there just a little bit more, but we're just cleaning the transmission off, and then we're gonna set her down and see how the gear pattern feels. Then we're gonna start her up, and maybe if it's still leaking pretty bad, some of the seals may be bad, but this will kind of get us by until then. Start it up, check the gear patterns, and then we may take it down the road and see how it feels. Take the jack out. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is we're going to check the gear pattern, which is way better than it was before.
It looks smooth.
I got to put a little bit of lithium grease on that reverse first still. I just put a new shifter bushing kit in, so let's do that next. I guess we'll put a little lithium grease on that shifter because it's giving me a little hard time going from reverse to first. So we're going to clean that up a little bit. But we're going to give it a start too. Alright, so ignore the obnoxious exhaust leak. One thing I did notice when I put it in neutral, let off the clutch, I don't hear a whine anymore. I used to hear a whine every time I let off the clutch in neutral. So I think we're good there. We're going to let her run for just a moment. You can see we dribbled some gear oil down on the exhaust manifold that's badly leaking. So we're going to let that burn off for a couple of minutes and do its thing. Okay, so a little setback. We were lubricating the shift lever, and I don't know if you can tell this. If you look up there at the top, this bolt is one of the new ones with the bushings we just put in. And that's the old one. Well, we had two new ones. This one just snapped off. I guess that's what happens when you cheaply build stuff like people do these days. So anyway, we had to find one of the old bolts, put them back in. Got the shifter moving. Before we had problems with the shifter getting bound up, but now we're in first, second, third. That used to be really hard to get down into first. It's not anymore, so that's good. Then we just push it straight up. It's in third or second, down to third. So maybe it's still a little skosh looser than I'd like it to be. Sorry, it's losing focus, but a lot better than it was. There's reverse. So far so good. We're gonna get this boot on and maybe give it a test drive. Okay, so we got everything back together. The shifter engages nicely in all gears. Second kind of wants to fall out, but it's because of this boot is kind of pushing some force on it. So we're not gonna pay too much attention to that now. Everything seems pretty smooth. If we go down into first, which is an unsynchronized gear, and a little bit of gas, and let's see how the gears feel just going down the road. The whining noise when I let off the clutch is gone. So far so good. We've got all the forward gears that we need. It's perfect. Well, this happened. That's a shame. It's my fault. It goes to show what happens when you don't pay attention. I guess I didn't latch the hood all the way. At least it happened down there. Speed zone's 20 instead of we're doing 60 down the highway, but hood went back too far and up to about here. Oh, jeez! That's not good. That dented the whole hood. Okay. Dented the whole hinge. It got the paint there and a little bit there. Otherwise, we probably can just pop that out and beat that back out, but it's a shame. It happens though sometimes. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, minus the hood flying up and about breaking in half, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Hey, leave a comment down below if you think I should paint this thing or something else we should do to it. Until next time, we'll catch you in the next one.